firstly, congratulations on the podcast. Whose idea was it to get the band back together?
See, because the two boys, because me and Tommy emigrated to Galway years ago, we've always been in touch. We've always been in contact. Sometimes, though, when I'm working and he's busy, I wouldn't see him from one end of the year to the other. But we're always in contact. Even when I'm on the road, we'd have a text. Or we always wanted to do something in the last year or 2 or 3 years. We've met numerous occasions to try and come up with an idea. One was just to hop in a car with a couple of pool cues and just go around and play pool in every pub in Ireland.
Pool dudes.
But that didn't happen. Just a couple of snooker cues and the two boys driving around Ireland, but that never happened. So April, I rang Tommy. I said, there's a coffee shop open during lockdown. Do you want to get a coffee and you want to talk about stuff? And we sat there and he said, fuck it, what can we do? What can we do? Can we do a radio show? Or what can we do? I'm after having McDonald's curry.
Lovely.
We have just made McDonald's curry from the pot.
Oh, yeah. You get in a carvery with class.
Oh, Lord. There's nothing more beautiful than a mead person saying carvery.
Carvery.
Is there? Pub could be shit, but the carvery's great. Christ almighty. Carveries, how important a carvery's got now with wet pubs and dry pubs. And we made lovely homemade chips. And I get the vinegar from a chipper in Navan, believe it or not.
Not the Valley Cafe, no? Class. That's the proper job there. There's no messing.
That vinegar is from Ezio's chipper beside Park Tolchin.
I know the one.
I'm delighted to be made by somebody from fucking Mead. It's fucking great to hear the Mead accents in the media.
So back with the podcast.
So me and Tommy started talking in April. Then we met for another coffee in May. Right, we're going to do this. I said, I know the German website that sells microphones and all that gear called Thomann. And he goes, no fucking way. I said, Tommy, this is like the IKEA for audiovisual products. And I said, let's get the stuff. Let's put it all in your shed. Let's get it really crispy, clear, good sound. And let's make a podcast. And then we said, right, will we get Laurita? And we rang Laurita Blewitt, who we hadn't seen and we've been in touch with, but we haven't talked to since our days on radio and iRadio, when she was a big part of our show and producer and sort of extra voice. And she was on the show and we said, we need Laurita. So we got Laurita back, and little did we ever think that she never told me back then, but that she's Joe Biden's cousin. So the plan is we're going to get, as I said to Laurita last week, I said, there's only one tweet I want. When he becomes the president of America, he's just got to say, this podcast is the best thing I've heard in years. Yeah, up Mayo and hashtag Tommy and Hector Podcast. So it's great to have Laurita there. She's a really great Knockmore, and they're in the county final in a couple of weeks' time, or next week or 2 weeks against Bravey. But she's a real passionate Mayo woman. She's brilliant. She's very funny. She had her line in the first podcast has just, there's been so much reaction when we were talking about, have you heard the first podcast?
Yeah.
So they're just closing the door there, but the dogging story about outside the Volkswagen Passat. And Maureen, just hang on a second and talk about dogging in Ireland and all that. And then Tommy goes, it's supreme confidence. The confidence it must give you to be able to have sex in public. And Laurita came out with that line, which is an absolute gem. I mean, how would that translate into sort of reading at Mass? And to me, that's just genius. That's just pure genius from Laurita. It's like a simple, we've no agenda. We might have a few ideas where the conversation's going to go, but the dogging stories and the GAA and the whole thing just weaves, and then we're going to leave it like that. We're not going to meddle with this too much. I think the country is in a mood to laugh. I think it needs to laugh because we're so tense and angry and fed up and pissed off and depressed and frustrated and fucking everything that this thing has done to us. We're in a very strange place, and we just got to look inwards, and if we can make people laugh, whether they're in the car on that shitty morning going to work these days, or whether they're in the kitchen on a shitty morning, or whether they're after dropping the kids and it's piss and rain, but they're happy the kids are back at school, and someone listens to the podcast and it makes them laugh and smile and brings imagery into their head, I'm happy.
Well, I think the image of you at the bottom of your garden taking a piss with your Jack Russell is one that will stay with me for life. So that's...
Yeah. I have a great relationship with him. He's he understands me. When I look into his eyes, he goes, "You are a fool."
But you're my fool.
But I like you because me and you understand each other. Yeah. I'm going to get the Jack Russell for you now. Hang on.
Go on.
Here. Rocco.
You're Rocco there. Look at him. Rocco, if I could just ask a few quick questions.
All Jack Russells are the kings of Ireland. They're the ancient kings of Ireland.
So just on lockdown, how have you found it? Is there something particularly difficult you found about it? Or I
suppose we were away. I was away for the month of February and into March. We were in Africa making a new series for TG Car. We did 3 months in America. 12 weeks in America, and the year before was 12 weeks going through Siberia and all that. So once a year we make these series for TG Car. To be away in Ethiopia, I mean, on the 10th of March I was swimming in 33 degrees heat in the Indian Ocean on the coast of Kenya near Mombasa, and then we took a flight home and we just fly into all this shit. But we don't know if we're going to get back out to finish the series. We were sort of twiddling our thumbs, and then I made a series, an 8-part series for my garage for TG Car called Hector Ó, where I spoke to 100 people over Zoom, from Damien Dempsey to Tommy Dowd to Dan Shanahan, the hurler, to everybody that I wanted to talk to during lockdown from my garden shed. So I didn't think I'd be able to walk out the back door of my house and make a TV show and come in and put on the kettle and come back out again. And this is a very strange time for the whole country, and I don't think the politicians really understand how hard it is all over the country for ordinary people, ordinary decent people. There's nobody that's been unaffected, and if they have been unaffected, they're one of the lucky few. But it's just a load of balls. For me, I didn't mind it because we started doing a bit of painting, and I have a garden. I could kick football. The kids were playing a lot of Xbox, and the weather was good. Mother Nature took care of us all really, really well because the weather was really brilliant. And if the weather was shit, we would have been in a bad place. It's all about slowing down I think the country got off the hamster wheel, I think. And the thing I like best about this, Justine, is that if somebody says they're working from home from now on, there's going to be no sneering and no fucking pull the other one. You working from home, they're fucking out last night. That's bollocks. Now working from home is a big statement. It's a good statement, and it means that person will maybe have more time with their children, or maybe will cook a nicer dinner, maybe will be able to go for a nice walk and get the work done instead of just busting their holes to get through the traffic and get to work and get home and fill the dishwasher and feed the kids and let's go back on the wheel.
And just speaking of lockdown, and you spoke on the podcast that you were in Clare a few weeks ago, with more people being encouraged to staycation, how would you describe, or would you encourage people to staycation in Navan as a location, or how would you sell it to people to go there for their staycation?
Would you say to people, go and see Navan? Yes, because we've now got there's a really cool new bakery coffee shop in a butcher's that I used to go to, the butcher's in Bruce Hill. I was in there last week, and she had French music emanating out the window, and there was a hatch, and it used to be a butcher's, but now it's a beautiful coffee shop. And then that night I went to the China Garden, which is the greatest Chinese of all. Michelle was in there. Michelle should be given the keys in Navan. She's an honorary. Michelle is just the China Garden. My boys are in there. They know their food. We know what we're having. And the next one, I went across the road. It used to be a Flaherty's, but it's now a new pub. It's your man who owns house, Alan, from the house in that fancy place on Dawson Street, that lounge. But like he's from Clonmelon. He's on the border. He's a meat man from Clonmelon. So I met him there. But you could go to the Hill of Tara and you can go to Slane. That's one of my favourite parts in the world. Slane is like going to Narnia. I know people that went to Slane and they only went there for a day. It took them 4 weeks to find a way out.
Yeah, there's probably still people there after a gig 2 years ago trying to find their way out.
Yeah, there's a few fields in Slane where if you go in the wrong way into a field, you can get lost. And the only way of getting out of that field is by turning your jumper inside out and then walking out the opposite way out of the field. But that's only around Slane. Well, I like the vibe in Slane. I love the vibe there. I love the road from Navan to Slane on the right hand side down by the river. It's just this lush forestry. It looks like something out of Robin Hood and all those great movies with Sherwood Forest, and it shows you the way Ireland was. I feel like some of the countryside around Slane reminds me of the way it was 500 or 600 years ago, or 1,000 years ago, which I'd love to be transported back to that time in Ireland. That would be my favourite time. And
speaking about being transported back in time, Leaving Certs got the results this week and the CAO offers today. Can you remember the day you got your Leaving Cert results, how you felt or what you wanted to do?
Jesus. First of all, the pressure of the Leaving Cert is ridiculous. I think it needs to be modernised. I think the whole system in this country is wrong. I think we're trying to create robots who can repeat stuff and learn stuff off by heart. I think the system is broken. I feel a lot for the Leaving Cert students this year that didn't get the marks they deserved or didn't put it in maybe fifth year or sixth year then they got grinds in certain subjects for the last year because they thought it was all big one exam. So it's been very unfair to a lot of students. I'm sure the students out there who couldn't believe their results. But I mean, for me personally, I'm a big advocate of the spoken language, whether it's Spanish or French or German or particularly Irish. I mean, like, there should be no qualms about 50% of your paper should be for speaking Irish. And if that student has gone to the Gaeltacht, or their parents have had a love of Irish, or the student can speak Irish, this is in a non-Gael school now, I think they should be getting their honour and then moving up higher up the ranks. But I mean, it's just, we're so backward. I think the educational system in this country is backward. I think we need to change it. We need to gut it and start again and give it a fresh feel. I mean, I got 5 C's, 5 honours. I don't know whether it was good or whether it was bad, but because I got a C in honours Latin, I was allowed to go to Trinity. I failed Trinity in second year, or in late first year. I didn't even get second year. But because I got a C in honours Latin, I was allowed to go to Trinity College, which that's a load of shite. Sure, I hadn't a clue. And I just thought, who does a really good leaving and then goes to college and then goes on to get the job they want? I mean, very few people, the Leaving Cert makes a determination on what job you're going to get. So I think, what do we really want? We want happy, healthy, rounded, social, good, honest, passionate, proud Irish young people. And if they're intelligent, all the better. But if they're not, there's so much more than just one piece of paper, because it really doesn't determine what a lot of the kids who got their Leaving Cert results this week will end up doing, and will end up living, and will end up, because so many people I know in the world of television and media never went to college and never went to film school and never did any of that. And it just shows you that, you know, there's so many things out there. It shouldn't be defined on a piece of paper. And how did you do in the leaving, and how'd you do in the leaving, and how'd you do in the leaving? It is important, but it's not the end of the world.
Sums it up in one, really. And finally, before I let you go, right, I know you're a United fan and Tommy's Liverpool. Is there rivalry there, or what do you reckon United's chances are this season?
The rivalry I mean, we were so bad at Christmas, it was unbelievable. Tommy, he doesn't gloat too much, but we go back to first year in school. Who do you support? Liverpool. Who do you support? United.
Yeah.
It was just United, Liverpool. Tommy hasn't gloated much, but I know he's passionate about it. We're getting closer to Liverpool. They're out tonight against Leeds United in the first Premier League match. Myself and Tommy have more sports banter now, because he's gone back coaching under 8s in Barna. And he's gone round now, he's gone round up at the pitch, and he's putting down cones and he's putting out drills. And I say, how many cones are you using? I mean, the science of conology now at football matches. The lads, Tommy will be out there 20 minutes before the match, and he'll be putting down conal, zonal areas and all this. Look, I've been coaching for years, and he knows this. I just coached the boys to the under 16A county championship. I've been coaching the same team since they're 8. They're 16-year-olds now. So I'm coming in from, I'm like the Jim Gavin of coaching, the Sean Boylan. Tommy's coming in at the under 8 level. So that's where we have most banter at the moment. Tommy thinks he can turn his hand to a lot of things. But that's why we have good banter in the shed when he tells me he's coaching the under 8s and stuff. And that's the type of chat we have, you know, and up at training and stuff like that. So it's very funny. And I'm sure the parents are delighted that is that Tommy Tiernan out there coaching. And you can hear Tommy, as long as he's shouting in a Mead accent, give it the hand pass off the shoulder now. Be running off the shoulder. Good lad, Luke. Good lad. Give it now. Give it a go. Down on that ball. Steps. Oh. The greatest line of any match. Steps. Steps. I mean, how often do you hear steps being shouted at a match in Ireland? Steps.
People are just passionate about the band, you know.
Yeah. Steps. Justine, this has been very unique now, very interesting. I really think we should start the Media Union of Ireland.
Media.
So we have the Mead Members Media Union of Ireland, where we will have a social once a year in a pub in Nobber.
We'll make it happen. Hector, thanks
Justine,
a million for chatting to me today, and the best of luck with the podcast.
As I say, Justine, support your local podcast.
That's it. There you go. In pod we trust.
In pods we trust. Listen, thanks a million.
Good luck.